let's get into it. Yeah. So, Cierra, appreciate you for having me on. Hello, everyone that I haven't met on the last live. My name is Michel Valbrun. I'm a CPA, also known as Money Making Mitch. I'm a tax strategist, award-winning author, writing contributor for Entrepreneur Magazine, amongst other things. So just really what I focus on and what I help people do is help them save $10,000 to $100,000 in taxes legally and ethically using proactive tax planning strategies. I also did a program called Tax Wealth 101, which I'm going to talk a little bit about. But yeah, really on this live, what I want to do is pretty much give y'all as much game as possible in order to help you guys save before the end of the year. All right, so someone asked what's a CPA? A CPA is a certified party animal. I'm playing with y'all. a CPA is a certified public accountant. I do turn up a little bit. Cierra knows that side of me. Is starting to get to know that side of me. But yeah, certified public accountant. Just all that really means is that I went and spent a lot of time and money in school to learn about accounting, to learn about taxes, and to really make sure that you all are on point when it comes to saving money on taxes. And one of the big misconceptions as it relates to taxes is, well, there's a lot of misconceptions. The first one I want to share with you is that the tax, like to be able to save money on taxes or to be able to take advantage of all the different tax strategies, you got to be rich. Like, so there's a saying out there that says there's two tax systems in the United States. There's one for the rich and one for the poor. But I think that's absolute BS. And I think that information is put out there to keep you all distracted.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I'm not uninterested, and it's so rude of me to say that. I live for these moments. I invited him on, so don't get it twisted. I listen intensely. So you said that people think that the tax code is written either for the rich and poor. So my question to you is, so that part's not true, but would you say it's true that the tax code is written in favor of businesses and not in favor of employees?
Yes. So part of it. Yes. So the tax code is written in favor of business owners and investors. But then even on another level, you can be a business owner and an investor. But if you don't know what you can do as far as it relates to taxes and saving money on your business, then all that stuff, all the benefits and stuff is not going to matter. So really what I say is that there's two tax systems. There's one for the ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I don't mean that like in a disrespectful way. That just means like a lack of information or a lack of knowledge about taxes. And then there's one, another tax code for the enlightened, people that know how to save money legally and ethically in taxes. So just understanding the ways that you can save money on taxes, understanding the legal loopholes that are available, and really making sure that you're maximizing and taking advantage of it. Because really what's going to end up happening is we have tax season coming up, right? And a lot of people are going to be trying to scramble, and they're going to be trying to save money on taxes. But by that time, it's too late. You already know, like, by that time, it is what it is. It doesn't matter who you work with. They're going to look at that tax return. They're going to ask you for your financials. They're going to ask you what you did last year. And at that point, it is what it is, right? So really the way to save money on taxes is to do it before the year's over. All right, so you need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy to help you save money on taxes. And one of the first concepts I want to share with y'all is like the 6 big ways to save money on taxes. All right. So when it comes
Say that again. Sorry.
Which part?
You said it so fast. You said the 6 something way.
Oh, okay, my bad. I'm gonna slow down. So the 6 big ways to save money on taxes. All right.
Big ways.
Yeah, there's 6 big ways to save money on taxes.
And by the way, y'all, I don't know about y'all. I don't know what y'all be doing. I'm a professional student. So as he's talking, while y'all talking about I'm looking uninterested, I'm over here writing notes on what he's saying. I don't care how much I know. I don't know what he'll say today that I might not know. So I'll just take notes. So y'all should take notes. But 6 big, what's the big heading? 6 big.
Yeah, 6 big ways to save money on taxes. And yet, Sierra's point, you definitely want to make sure you're writing down notes if you got a notepad next to you, because I'm about to drop like $1,000 worth of gems. I'm not even like no cap, like for real. Like this could save you literally thousands of dollars if you understand this stuff. So the first one is maximizing deductions. All right, so that's the first big way to save. So one of the ways that you can maximize deductions, I talked a little bit about this last time we were on live, but there is a 4 requirements that the IRS has you do in order to save money on deductions, right? So the 4 requirements, I call it tax-free. So if you're trying to have a tax-free year, if you're trying to have some tax-free write-offs, this is how you do it. So the first one is going to be F. So the first requirement is needs to be for business, all right? So as Sierra mentioned, the IRS tax code, it favors business owners and investors. So if you have a business, then you can expense things that are related to that particular business, right? So that's the first part. The second part of that is it needs to be considered regular, or as the IRS calls it, ordinary. So it needs to be ordinary for your business. So I'm going to use Sierra as an example, right? She's a lawyer, she's an attorney, she's doing her thing. So she has her business, her law practice, her law firm. So a regular expense for her is going to be that notepad, right? That legal pad, because she's a lawyer. She's going to have that pen. She's going to have the supplies. She's going to have the computers. All those things you could write off and take advantage of in the tax year. So that's considered regular for her business.
Can we? So I saw 2 women ask you this, and this subject is actually like why I was like, I want to be an influencer. Literally, I looked at the fact that if I become an influencer, I can write off a lot of my lifestyle. So they specifically asked you, how do I write off my nails and I think hair? So and another thing, so I just told you guys I have this light shining on me. That's something for business. So I have a law firm and I have a social media business. So can you like tell them the differences, like when it starts becoming like different type of businesses? Because I think there's an emerging like culture of entrepreneurs that are more like lifestyle, and their tax write-offs are going to be kind of borderline lifestyle tax write-offs.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So really, when it comes to the lifestyle piece, and I was get into it a little bit, but so you kind of have to. It's a balancing act, right? So like as far as like hair, nails, makeup, all that kind of stuff, is it possible to write it off? It is possible. But again, just know that the IRS may question that if it's like legit, really, really for your business, because one of the things that can happen is you could actually use it in your personal lifestyle. So they're basically let's say you got your nice suit on or whatever, and you're on point or whatever. You can actually, if you wanted to, you can take that suit and wear it in your life, right? So that for them, they may that's kind of where the gray area comes into. But like, if you really want to talk about life, you're doing.
You might have
so let's say that.
You might have paused and you have to repeat it because I got a call, so it might have paused you.
Okay, yeah, cool. So with that lifestyle, right? So we want to talk about lifestyle business as far as like writing off nails and all that kind of stuff. So if you're doing, let's say you're doing a shoot specifically for your business, like let's say you really want to do a shoot and you did the hair and makeup for that specific shoot, then yeah, there's an opportunity for you to be able to write it off. I wouldn't say you do it. I wouldn't say you continue doing it on a consistent basis, but I would say like every once in a while. I think that's appropriate, but it really depends on your risk tolerance because, like I said, because it could be seen as personal. So that's kind of when you risk it. But let's say you were to rent like an outfit, right? You got a really nice outfit. You rent some red bottoms. I know you could afford it, but let's just say you want to, rented out some red bottoms, right? Those kind of things, that can help you. You could be able to take that as a write-off because that would be considered like as a costume, you know what I mean? So like for that specific shoot. So that's kind of how you want to, when you want to do it for the business. But again, it needs to go back to those requirements, right? If you can prove that it's for your business, it's a regular expense for your business, like this is something that people in my industry do on a consistent basis for business specifically, then that can help you save money. The next part of that free is going to be E, which is considered essential. So is it really essential for you to generate and make money from your business, right? So maybe with your law business, doing the photo shoots, maybe that's not considered essential for you to continuously take photos in order for you to be profitable. For your influencer Instagram business, that's
every day.
Yeah, that's when it's considered, okay, yeah, you need to go ahead and do that because you're posting, you're making posts, you're getting paid for the post, whatever the case is, right? So that's when it can be seen as more essential, right? And another part of that is, the last part of that is extravagant less, all right? The IRS specifically says it can't be extravagant, so you just want to make sure that your expenses are not extravagant. An example of an extravagant expense, let's say you're making like $10,000 in your business. Maybe you're just starting off and you're making like $10,000 for your business, and then you try to go out and blow like $20,000 on a meal for whatever reason. Maybe you're popping bottles, you're buying like
or a trip.
Yeah, or a trip. Yeah. Where you're like going way over the top.
Amalfi Coast, you on a yacht, and you was working at Burger King last week. So
right. Yeah. So they're like, they're gonna start questioning, be like, okay, yeah, you're pushing it, right? You're trying to finesse. So you just want to make sure that it's reasonable in the IRS's eyes. That's kind of the requirements in order for your deductions. And then let's talk about.
Is this where so I don't know about how you guys learned. So for us, we learned by learning court cases. So when you're talking about this, I'm thinking like, I feel like they would talk to us about like textbook case of like woman wanting to get freaking plastic surgery, and she's over here. I can just imagine that in court they're going back and forth whether or not this plastic surgery was in fact for business, regular or ordinary, essential, and extravagant list. So just from my perspective, like, I don't know if they can hear me, but anyways, from my perspective as a lawyer, I feel that everything, once you know the parameters, you can work with them, right? So if you have a CPA and you sit down, everything that we do in life is not necessarily like black and white. So once you know these parameters, you know what you're up against. So you know that if you do something that, it's different, now I'm entering a space of influencing. So when it comes to the IRS, this whole lifestyle is completely new. So they're really probably having to create new law revolving around this, because the way that laws work is like, there's a law, and then different scenarios shape the law. So like, say today I decided that I was gonna freaking get veneers, and let's say my veneers were like $50,000, and let's say I write it off with my influencing business as opposed to my law firm, and let's say the IRS, they audit me and I go to court over it. This would be literally like my attorney, because I'm not a tax attorney, so it would be my attorney versus the federal government arguing over whether or not this is okay. So once you know the parameters, you can, move around them a little more and maneuver them. And yes, like Trishana said, people get away with these write-offs until they get audited. And you get audited, and if you're okay with being audited, to me as a lawyer, being audited sounds like having to go to court. I don't really care. I'm not scared of that. But as long as you have your things together, then you can have your attorney. Or can't you appear in court on behalf of people too?
Yeah, so that's another thing. So as a CPA, one of the things I could do is I could represent clients provide legal representation for clients. So that's one of the benefits and one of the reasons why you need to look into working with the CPA. But yeah, like as Sierra said, as Shoshana mentioned, yeah, like you people get away with it until you get audited. At the end of the day, yeah, it's not like they're not going to be kicking down your door. They're not going to be bringing in the SWAT team. It's going to be a letter in the mail. You know what I mean? So like, you just deal with it, right? And then one of the things that you want to do is you make sure you talk to that tax attorney, that CPA, in order to help you have that defense. Like as a CPA, like I told you, I just gave you the parameters. That's the parameters right there. They're going to be looking at, is it for business? Is it regular? Is it essential? Is it not extravagant? And they're really going to be breaking that down. And even on a deeper level, there's court cases that happen, right? So in the case of the plastic surgery, I believe there's a case where there was actually I don't know if it was a stripper or a model who went to court because she paid for the surgery through her business, and they went back and forth on it. I believe she won that case because she was able to prove, based on the requirements that we just talked about, that that's I need this to be profitable. I need this to make my money. You know what I
I
mean?
feel like I learned this. I feel like I learned this in because I had corporations, so I had to learn about corporations, LLCs. I feel like this might have been a part of that. I definitely remember like this classic textbook like case, and that's how it works. Like cases shape the law. So don't be afraid that, oh, if I get audited, that's not the end of the world. You just need to know the parameters and you need to work with someone like him. But sorry, I just had to point that out to them.
Yeah, yeah, and it's important too. And I actually did a post recently about some of the flags, and I talk about it in my program too about some of the flags that they look at as far as audits. But yeah, as long as you feel comfortable, one, that you could defend those business expenses, and then two, you have the records as well, right? So you're making sure that you're keeping the receipts and everything. You have the dates, so you can say like, hey, I actually spent it for this specific reason. Then that's going to help you out too. You know what I mean? So that's extremely important. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about saving money before the end of the year. So one of the ways that you can reduce how much money you're paying in taxes for the upcoming tax season is you can actually accelerate your expenses. All right. So write that down. Make sure you want to look into accelerating your expenses. And what I mean by accelerating your expenses, so now that you guys know the expenses, the deductions that you could take for the year, you go ahead and start prepaying for things, right? So Cierra, for instance, right? So you know she's the Instagram influencer. Let's say that she knows that COVID is coming out, the vaccine, whether you believe it or not, it is what it is. But you know, let's say she believes and projects that the COVID is going to be over, and she wants to do a live event, right? She turn up with y'all. She wants to meet you all in person, do a meet and greet out in LA, and she books some venue and some space out in LA for like sometime in the future, like in June. She could actually prepay that. That would actually can be considered as a deduction for this year. You know what I mean? So she could write that off in the year. It doesn't necessarily need to be cash out of the bank account either. It could be through a credit card. But as long as it's done during cash basis, a cash method, for your bookkeeping, which most people are, especially this type of industry, then that's a way for you to save money on taxes. So if there's things that you know that you're about to spend and you're really trying to get some more write-offs before the end of the year, that's a way to do it in order to help you save some money in taxes. And then on the flip side, you got another one with income, right? So like, let's say you have, and this one, it depends on how your cash flows and how your money is, right? So let's say you killed it this year, you turned the pandemic into a bandemic, right? You're making
Period.
and you're making money, and you got some wiggle room. You got some wiggle room in order for you to have your clients pay you later. So like, let's say you got a client and they're supposed to pay you this month or whatever, but you're just like, yo, I want to defer that for the next year. You can have them pay off that invoice for the next year, and then it won't count for this year. You know what I mean? So you can kind of like slow down your income in that way for you to be able to save some money on taxes this year. So the same, it's kind of like the inverse with the expenses. So that's how you could do it as far as income. And then another thing that you guys need to look into is really when it comes to saving money on taxes, another way that you really want to make sure you maximize retirement. So that's the second big way to save, if you guys are taking notes. So number one, maximizing deductions. The second way to save, retirement. All right. So
does it matter like what type of account that you choose for retirement? Because it's like there's retirement accounts. So does the tax code outline these are the approved accounts? What are those?
Yeah, so they have what are called, they're pretty much classified by the IRS as what are called qualified accounts that you could write off and use to save you money on taxes. So the first one is the 401k. The 401k is actually just named right after the section of the tax code. That's where 401k comes from. And so as a W-2 employee, if you guys are familiar, you guys can contribute to a 401k account. You can contribute up to $19,500 per year on that for an individual. So you can contribute $19,500. That's pre-tax. So that's going to show up as a tax. That's going to show up as a deduction for your taxes. As an employee, as a self-employed individual, you have what's called a solo 401k. Works and operates the same way. You just need to get that set up. and structure for your business, and you can contribute that same amount, 19,500, for the year, and take that as a tax deduction as well. So that's the 401ks. All right, and then you have what are called IRAs, right? So you have self-directed IRAs. So you can contribute up to $6,000 per year on the self-directed IRA on top of the 401k. So you can actually do both. You go ahead, you contribute that $6,000 into a self-directed IRA. One of the dope things about self-directed IRAs is that you actually have more flexibility with how you can invest it, right? So with the 401k, you're kind of limited. So with the 401k, you got your mutual funds, you got your stock funds, you got the S&P 500, you got all these different accounts.
So you can do that. You can do that for 401k. You can do it. So this is what confuses me. So you said the max is 12,500. So
19.
if I invested 12,500 in the stock market, that amount is tax deductible?
No, so the way it works is, so you have the pre-tax contribution of 19,500 in the 401k accounts. Typically, like let's say you're doing it through Fidelity, they have different mutual funds that you can invest in. All right, so you got the 19.5 that and then you put the money into one of their mutual funds. But with the self-directed IRA, it gives you more flexibility. So with the self-directed IRA, that's outside of the 401k. Self-directed IRA, they call it self-directed because you can direct how you spend them, how you invest the money. So if you wanted to, like you said, you can invest it in stocks. You can do stock options in there. You can do real estate in there. You can do.
What about life insurance?
You can invest in life insurance products in there as well. So you just have more flexibility in what you can invest in. Like you could even, like there's people who invest in like art. You know what I mean? So like there's different things that you can invest in. So it just gives you more flexibility instead of being limited with that 401k. So that's directed IRA. The other one that you all need to look into, it doesn't provide you a tax benefit today, but it does provide a tax benefit in the future. It's going to be that Roth 401k, Roth IRA. Basically, the Roth is after tax. So that means the money that you're already taxed on, you already pay taxes on that money. You take that amount, you invest it into a retirement account, and that money can grow tax-free as well. So that's one of the great things about the Roth IRAs. So you have the money, and then the withdrawals, they're a little bit more flexible on how you can use that money as well.
Okay. So the first three things that he told us is maximize deductions, accelerate tax payments, and fund money into retirement accounts. So what's really important is to shift your strategy, I guess I would say, from, preparing your taxes at the end of the year to planning for taxes. So once you start knowing things like this, and how he said accelerate, like you can pay your taxes quarterly. So you can decide at the end of a quarter, like I've made 50K, and let's say you have it in the bank. Based off of the amounts that you can write off, you can set your future up accordingly. So you can invest $19,500 of 50K to make sure that you're not taxed that amount, and then you keep that amount for your future. You do that 4 times a year, you have, what is that, 80,000? That's tax-free. Of course, taking it out is a different story, I'm assuming, but still, you're planning things instead of being reactive, because I imagine every quarter is different, right? So if I was waiting to the end of the year, I don't really know like how I would be planning my taxes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You like she said, the key right there is pre-planning, being proactive, because you can't do this at the end of the year. Now there is something called, I'm gonna give you guys like a really, really big gem. So this is like I said, some serious game here, but there's something called the Sep Ira. All right. So the Sep Ira is another retirement account that you could contribute to as a self-employed individual. And they actually allow you to contribute up to $57,000 or 25% of your compensation if you're paying yourself a compensation. And you can actually do that after the tax year's over, before you file your taxes. So that's like the one tax move that you can try to do last minute. you know what I mean, to really, really save you some money. But outside of that, 99% of the strategies are going to be based on activity that you did during the year. You know what I mean? So that's how you can save the money on taxes from that point.
Hey, Yosef, you are awesome. He always comes through with the support. I love all his comments in every live. His comments on pictures and videos are lit. Just thanks. I just want to thank you for your support.
Shout out to Yosef, real talk. But yeah, so that those are the ways those are ways that you can save. So those are the two big ways that you can save. The next part of that is legal entity structure. I know that's your wheelhouse. I know you're the LLC queen, all things legal entities. So I know that's your wheelhouse. But I want to talk a little bit and touch a little bit about LLCs. I know you talk all about it in your program or whatever, but I do want to talk about, you know, some of the ways that you can save money as far as your legal entity, your tax entities, and how does that play a factor into helping you save money on taxes. So one of the big concepts that you need to understand is, so you have what's called a legal entity and you have what's called a tax entity. All right, so they're two separate things. There is some similar, they kind of work together, but the legal entity, the sole purpose of the legal entity is to provide you legal protection. So when I say legal protection, it protects your personal assets from your business assets. So let's say that you're a business owner and you're worried about someone coming to sue you after your business. Let's say you have you're doing some things in real estate. You're worried about your tenant coming in there trying to sue you, trying to come after all your money. LLC is going to provide.
Which they will.
Yeah, right. Which they will.
I used to do landlord-tenant disputes, and I represented landlords and you know, the property owners. And this is just like, it's just a huge area of law. So yes, they will. But go ahead. Sorry.
And that's the law, from what I understand. Don't they favor tenants?
And I think it depends on the state. So this state specifically favors tenants. I'm not sure about other states, but it just seems like the purpose of the justice system is fairness. So, you know, when you think about a tenant, if the landlord has his way, the tenant's out on the streets. If the tenant has his way, the landlord's still in his mansion. So yeah, the government's going to favor the tenant.
Yeah, exactly. And you even seen how they did that when the pandemic hit and they allowed people to defer their rents and their expenses and stuff. So yeah, they're gonna so as Cierra mentioned, they're gonna be coming for you, right? It's a whole practice and a whole area of law that people are kind of fighting and disputing day in and day out. So yeah, you want to make sure you have that LLC set up for you for that legal protection. One of the things with the LLC, it doesn't inherently give you tax benefits. You do get the tax benefits because by default, if you're a single person, you are taxed as an LLC, where your LLC taxed as a sole proprietorship, right? So because you're a sole proprietorship, you can go ahead, start taking advantage of all those.
Wait, pause. You just brushed over that too fast. These people argue with me. First of all. So this is something that we need to discuss really briefly. So an LLC is an entity that is statewide. You create it in the state, whatever state you choose, right? So there's a difference in the federal and state government. The IRS is the federal government. So the IRS does not recognize what states consider law. They have their own set of laws. So when you're just an LLC, the IRS doesn't automatically say, oh, this is an LLC, we're going to tax it as an LLC. You get to choose how your LLC is taxed. So the beautiful part about this is different entities have different tax benefits. So you can elect which tax benefits work for you when you have an LLC.
Yep. Yeah. So LLCs are managed by the states. Coincidentally, there's actually some states that don't even recognize the LLC. So that's another thing too. So like you just need to be up on your state. Most states are going to go ahead and accept LLCs. But yeah, LLCs do not provide you tax benefits inherently. They just provide legal protection. And then at the federal level, that's when you have your tax entities. That's how you're taxed. And on a federal level, you're either taxed as a sole proprietorship, a partnership, an S corp, or a C corp. So I saw someone So someone asked a question about the S corp. Why do you do the S corp? When is it a good time to switch over to the S corp? So basically, one of the things that you need to consider with as far as switching over to the S corp is there's this concept called self-employment taxes. Okay, so what self-employment taxes, what ends up happening is that as an LLC sole proprietorship, you're paying what's called self-employment tax, which is 15.3%. So with that 15.3%, what the government's trying to do is they're trying to replicate what's going on at a W-2 job. So they're having you pay FICA, SUDA, kind of stuff, right? So basically, payroll taxes essentially. So when you're working a job, you're paying 7.65%. Your employer's paying that 7.6%. That comes out to about 15.3%. As a sole proprietorship, LLC, you're going to be taxed. The profit of that business, if you're profitable, is going to be taxed at 15.3%. So,
wait, that's another thing you're kind of breezing over. If you're profitable, sometimes your business can be operating at a loss.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm gonna leave the lights off. I don't know. I'm not gonna anymore. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. No. Important point too. So yeah, one of the questions that I get a lot of times is, if my business is not profitable, should I still file my taxes? Right? People ask me this all the time. There is yes. All right, so one thing is that's one of the benefits. So yes, unfortunately your business didn't make money. That's common, right? That's common for people who are starting off in business. You may not necessarily be profitable the first year, second year, third year. Hopefully you become profitable later on in the future. But if you are unprofitable, one of the things that you can do is you can actually take those losses. Let's say you have a side hustle, right? Let's say you're working a W-2 job and you have a side hustle and the side hustle is not profitable. Then you could take that loss from the side hustle and go ahead and apply it to the income from your W-2 job, and that's when you could reduce your tax liability. So one of the things, and I'm gonna try to slow down and break down this concept, but like, so when you're during the year, let's say you're working at your W-2 job, you're paying into the taxes, right? You're paying taxes, you're giving the government money, right? So
when they withhold it from your check.
Yeah, from your check. They're withholding it from your check. And at the end of the year, your taxes, that's when the government kind of chews everything up and they're just like, okay, did you give us too much? Did you give us too little? Like, how much, where are we at, right? So one of the things that happens is with that loss from the business, sometimes what happens is because you have that loss and it's a little bit unexpected because your W-2 job is not necessarily calculating for that. So then that's an opportunity where you can potentially get a refund, and that's when you end up overpaying in taxes. And when that overpayment turns into a refund for you. So that's a major key. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand. Also, too, as a new self-employed individual, a lot of times people get tripped up too. Is like, let's say I'm doing taxes for someone who's just new in business. They had that loss, and they ask me, "Where's my refund?" Well, right?
There's not a surplus.
Right.
There's not a surplus, or not a surplus of taxes that you pay because you operated as a loss.
Right. Yeah, you operated as a loss, so you didn't pay taxes during the year. Okay, so that's one thing, and then you have the loss, so no, you're not going to get a refund, but you don't pay any taxes, so you're winning anyway, so you're good there. But as far as going back to the S corp situation and the sole proprietorship, so yeah, that 15.3% is on the profit of the business. As an S corp, you switch over to the S corp, instead of having that 15.3 tax on the profit of the business, you get 15.3 tax on the compensation or the salary that you pay yourself. All right. So one of the things that you have to do as S corp is you have to pay yourself for what's called a reasonable compensation. All right. So a lot of people miss out on this. A lot of people don't even know about it. They just, they go out there, they go set up their S corp, and they hear that you can save money on taxes, but they don't understand like the requirements. So one of the requirements of having the S corp is you have to pay yourself a reasonable compensation, because the IRS knows that, okay, yeah, we're not going to get you down that 15.3 on the profit, but we need to see it coming from somewhere, right? So they make sure they get that 15.3 from the salary that you pay yourself. So really the break even point, I saw some questions come through about when should you switch over to the S corp. Really the time for you to switch over to the S corp. The break even point that I believe is in profit is $50,000 in profit. Not revenue. All right, so you have your revenue But even if you have $50,000 in revenue and you have $60,000 in losses, then it doesn't make any sense, right? So really, the break even point where it really makes a difference for you to save big on taxes is that $50,000 or more in profit for you to switch over to the S corp, and then Sierra can give you a whole bunch of game on how to set that up.
And then too, just I talk about this in my LLC course because people have a tendency to want to get over. So the reason that you have to pay yourself a reasonable compensation as an S corp is because you get to avoid the self-employment tax. So you're still going to have to pay tax on the amount that you're paid. So you can't form an LLC as a way to just shield yourself from paying taxes, from doing anything, just like shield yourself legally. No, you still have to like contribute to society as a whole. So they're making sure that you pay yourself a reasonable compensation so they still get their piece of the pie. And another thing I saw was someone asked, well, what if I don't have any employees? So an S corp being an LLC and like sole proprietorship, self-employment tax, none of it has to do with employees. You're the employee. You're a single member LLC, and you're the employee that you pay, and you have to pay yourself so that the government can tax you on what you pay yourself. And if you don't elect to be taxed as an S corp, then automatically when you form your LLC, you're going to be taxed as a sole proprietor. And if you're taxed as a sole proprietor, you have to pay self-employment tax. Circling it back one more time, to avoid that self-employment tax, you elect to be taxed as an S corp, and you pay yourself a reasonable compensation. Yeah. Oh, are there questions? I thought they said, are these questions you should be asking? I'm like, yes. Ask your CPA everything. But yeah, I just wanted to circle that back because I think people have a hard time understanding these concepts. So I just really want them to understand, like, what is an S corp? How does it function? Because this is difficult for people to understand.
Yeah, no, it's complicated. Unfortunately, no one's really teaching us this stuff. I'll even admit, this is another thing too, a little bit about my backstory if you guys haven't heard. So with me, when I went to school for accounting. I went to the top 10 accounting. So this is not like some rinky-dink like accounting school. Like, this is like the top 10 in the country. So I'm going to this school, and then I graduate, right? I'm being an accountant, and I was studying to be an accountant or whatever, and I'm working at this volunteer tax prep service, right? It's called VITA. So I'm doing this thing called VITA. So I'm working with a couple. We're doing the taxes or whatever, and he ended up owing some money or whatever. I forgot how much it was. They ended up owing some money, and then the husband's just like, well, cool, you did the taxes. How can we save money on taxes for next year? And I was just like,
like, I don't know.
I don't know, right? Because I didn't know, because they're not teaching us. They're not even teaching that kind of stuff in school, right? The accounting programs, even the CPA exam, it's really focused toward work. It helps you, like, the schools are also designed to help you pass the CPA exam, but they're not really teaching you in detail the ways that you can help small businesses benefit. And over 90% of the businesses in the country are small businesses. Like, this is like the country, right? That are made up of small businesses, and they're not teaching you this stuff. So yeah, to learn this game, to learn this information, listen, the concept of legal entities versus tax entities, I dare you, go to your CPA, go to your tax preparer, people at H&R Block or whatever. They don't know anything. They probably, I almost guarantee that they don't know, because again, they're not taught this. But people who are active, people who are practicing, who are really out here helping people, small businesses, like, they know this information, they know this game or whatever. So that's the
I don't think that I don't think there's secrets. I don't think they're kept to anyone. I personally feel that the problem is we're underrepresented in these professions. So I shared with Michel that only 5% of lawyers are Black. So out of all the lawyers in the United States, 5% of which are Black. What is the percentage of CPAs? Is it the same or less?
It's probably less than that. I mean,
yeah, I don't honestly, I think you might be one of like very few CPAs that I know, and I know a lot of Black attorneys. So the problem is, you know, if you think about all the other cultures, the majority in this country, I'm assuming, is white. So that's like, let's just say let's say minorities as a whole in like my profession represent
we got less than 1% CPA.
represent, let's say minorities represent 11%, and the remaining, what is it, 89% is whites. So of the whole professions of CPA, there's 89% of white CPAs walking around here talking to their kids, talking to their friends, talking to their families, and then we have Michel here talking to us. So it's not that the information is being hidden, it's that we don't have enough of us giving the information out. We don't have enough of me giving what I give out. So that's just a problem. And in our community, professions like ours, people don't want to go into, because some reason we've accepted that, you know, like entertainment is the only way, or we've been pushed a really like bad perspective of like what type of jobs we should have. So we haven't been taking these type of jobs. But if we're going to grow in America, more of us need to be willing to do these jobs that are not fun. They're not fun, but some reason we want to have fun at work. But these other cultures, they don't care about fun. They care about their generational wealth. So it's time that as a community, we start shifting our focus to building our community and not having fun at work.
Amen.
Sorry. And where you left off was you were talking about S corps, but we didn't get to C corps.
Yeah, the C corps. Usually, I mean, I don't talk much about the C corps because I really don't recommend them for the majority of people. You know, it really to do the C corp. One thing is the S corps and the C corps have a lot of the same benefits. There's a few benefits that you have over the C corp as far as fringe benefits, but it's not a ton. It doesn't save you that much. As far as it all depends on really when the C corp is really going to help you is depending on your marginal tax rates. We didn't talk about that, but marginal tax rates, basically the federal tax rate that you're taxed at. You have 10%, 12%, 22%, 24%, 32%. So you have different marginal tax rates. If you're in a high tax rate state like California, maybe it may make sense for you to do the C corp. Really, the benefit of doing the C corp is if you have investors. So if you plan on having your company go public, then that's when it really makes sense to do the C corp. But I think I would recommend if you are considering it, definitely recommend you reaching out to someone to go ahead and do an analysis and do like a legal entity optimization is one of the things that we do with our clients. And then also piggybacking off of what Cierra said, yeah, representation is key. I saw someone put in there less than 1% of us are Black as far as CPAs are concerned. So that's one thing. And then quickly, I want to share with you. So it was interesting. Actually, was one of my clients. He's a ball player. He's like one of the top 50 basketball players in the country. If I said his name, you know who he is. And we were working together. We were going through everything, and he was telling me he heard about Rich Dad Poor Dad, right? So he heard about Robert Kiyosaki. He started reading, he started looking up and watching videos from Robert Kiyosaki. Then he came across, Robert Kiyosaki's tax professional that he works with. And he was saying like, bro, like I was working with all these financial advisors and all these people touching my money, doing things with my money. And none of them gave me any of this information. We jumped on a call and literally like kind of like I was going on this live, achieving him a whole bunch of ways that he could save money on taxes. He's like, bro, I called up one of the companies I'm working with, and I hit them up and asked them, like, do you guys know anything about conservation easements? All right, so we're not going to talk too much, but conservation easements, it's a little bit complicated. But basically, the way conservation easements work is that you can invest into land, and you can dedicate that land for conservation purposes. You go ahead and donate that to the government. You can actually take that as a tax write-off, depending on how you structure the deal and the fair market value and all that kind of stuff, right? But he said he called up the people that he's working with, the money people that he's working with. He said, "Yo, put the top tax professional on the phone, and let me talk to him." He said, "Yo, what's a conservation easement?" They didn't know, right? So
I don't know what that is, but I know what easements are, and I never heard of a conservation easement. So I'm intrigued.
Yeah, conservation easements. That's a really, really like technical, like super high level strategy. But that's like, again, if you're making like crazy, like multi-millions, that's when it really makes sense for you to do it. It's expensive to do it. And also, historically speaking, it was kind of like a red flag for the IRS. But if you work with the right company, right investment company, in order to identify that conservation property, then I can help you save money. But anyways, one, he wasn't getting representation, and then two, even he wasn't getting representation. The problem with the representation piece is, like, they're gonna look at him. He's like, he's a ball player. Like, he doesn't need to know this. Like,
I think that they're probably jealous of him. So, at the end of the day,
they're seeing all that money,
and it's just like our history in America is, the black man is most hated. So, a tall, black, muscular, strong, rich, smart black man walking into some other culture's office, that man's pissed. That man, men are competitive by nature. So a tall ass, this man is scared, like, this man could take my wife. That's the fear that comes across that accountant when he sees that basketball player. So you think that he cares about his taxes, but when he walks into Michel's office, Michel is like, bro, what? I've been watching you for the last whatever since you've been drafted. I'm happy to be rubbing elbows with you. What can I do to help you?
Right.
We care about each other. We care about each other. Well, sometimes we don't, but we are the only people who will care about each other. So please, y'all. Like, I encourage a lot of people constantly to start businesses, but what's of equal importance, I've been on Twitter for a while now, and they have this part of Twitter called like Money Twitter, and everybody on Money Twitter is always talking shit about like college and stuff, and I'm just like, we need black doctors, we need black lawyers, we need black CPAs, we need black owners of large real estate, we need black people in politics, we need black people everywhere. And all of these things to go into real estate, you don't need to own real estate, you don't need a degree, but you need to go to school. I'm not for this whole, you don't need to go to school. There are some professions that we need to start entering into. I'm all for it, starting a business. I was the lawyer in law school. They're telling me everything has to be X, Y, and Z. I'm like, I'm not about to have no boss. What are y'all talking about? I'm going to start a business. So you can be a professional and start a business. Oh, yes, black engineers, but we really, really, really need to start entering into these professions. Him and I are professionals. Like, I'm going to pat us on the back, but there's very few black professionals. We are credentialed. You notice there's a CPA after his name, an ESQ after mine. What does that mean? We studied a lot. We took a lot of tests, and we know what the hell we're talking about. But we need a lot more of that in our community.
Facts. And I'm kind of disagree with you on one part you said like 10 minutes ago. It's not all boring. You know what I mean? Like, I actually, for me, like, don't get me wrong. Like, some of the parts.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah. Some of the parts I do, I'm gonna be real with you. It's boring. It's super boring. So I try to outsource that work, and I outsource that work. But as far as like tax strategies and helping people like save money on taxes, like, that's, to me, Like that's dope. Like when I was talking to the NBA player and we were talking about different strategies, and he has this business over here and he wants to pay his wife and his mom and put people on and all this kind of stuff and try to coordinate that and maneuver, like Hov said, like Jay-Z said, he said in the song, he's like, who deserves the medal of freedom is my accountant. Irish should have had the townhouses surrounded.
Period.
Loopholes working round shift. Like, that's facts. Like,
I love it.
And
I take it back. It's not boring. I just say that because us as a culture deem certain professions to be boring, so we don't do it. But we really, really, really need to. Like, I don't know what ticks you guys, but we need to stop seeking to be entertained. We need to educate ourselves. We need to grow. We need to build wealth. There is so much more to life. I don't find nothing fun about bringing a kid into this world if my ass is broke. Nothing that I do sounds fun. When my money is low, I am not having fun. I'm pissed off. So I can't relate to like, you know, this, what society deems to be fun and important. But we definitely call professions like ours boring, but it's truly, I love this. I'm dying right now because I miss going to court. I miss going to depositions. I miss, you know, arguing with people in their face. So yeah, I definitely agree that our professions are very fun, but was the school fun? No. Was failing the bar fun? No. Was passing the bar fun? Happiest day of my life. I've never experienced tears of joy like it. Probably never will unless I have a child or get married. But you know, you gotta endure the tough parts.
Right. You didn't turn up to school? You didn't have fun?
Hell yeah, I did. In law school. In law school I didn't, but I went to ASU. I'm a Sun Devil. Like, come on. The mascot says it all. we're a devil in the sun. Like, what more do? Yeah, I did, and I still do, and I can't wait to be on YouTube. So, because I want you guys to see, like, you can have fun doing, like, I don't know. I can't say fun, but my life is fun. When y'all see the behind the scenes of what I do every day, my life is fun as hell. So, yeah, and that's kind of fun.
I would say two things. One, so used to the Sun Devil, I was like, when he said that, I was like, damn, Sierra's on demon time. Like, she was
man, man, I was dumb too, just young and dumb. So if you're young and dumb, it's okay. You'll turn out okay. I did.
But I would say, but even going on to that, like, yeah, no, it's important, and it's really important to make sure that you're working with the right professionals. And too, this is another thing too. Like, the culture, I want to say this too, like, and you really put me onto this, like, the culture is shifting. Like, what law used to look like back in the day, what accounting used to look like back in the day, all that's being shifted. Like, there's never been a time when you've seen an accountant out here and a lawyer out here talking live on video, being their true.
He was rapping last time.
I'm CPA out here quoting lines. I got a whole rap song in real life on YouTube, 10 Tax Commandments.
Yeah.
On the last live. But yeah, no, it's different. So we can have fun with it. We can do that. But yeah, getting back to some of those tax savings, like, I want to continue to give y'all.
Oh yeah, because you gave us 1 through 3, right? So we have 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6. So the next one after that, so we talked about, so just to recap, so maximizing deductions, retirement, legal entity structure, we talked a little bit about that. The next
and accelerating.
And accelerating too, right? So you can accelerate your income, you can, accelerate your expenses, slow down your income. So like I said, you turn in, slow down your income, go ahead and collect that check in 2021 so you pay less taxes in 2020 when it comes to this upcoming tax season. So that's another way to do it. And another way to help you save money on taxes is, and I talk all about this in my course, Tax Wealth 101. Make sure you check that out, Tax Wealth 101 in my bio, or taxwealth101.com. But there's also ways that you can pay pay family members through the business, right? So we talked a little bit.
Oh yes, I love this.
So this is like this is the legal loophole that you can do. So as a business owner, you could pay your children through the business. All right. So the way that works is you have your children, right? So let's say you have dependents, right? So there's a lot of mompreneurs out there, people who have children. You guys are already paying money on the kids. You can't need your money. All right. So one of the ways that you can pay your children, also get a tax benefit from it, and also educate. This is another thing too, a lot of people don't talk about. Also educate them on what it means to be an entrepreneur and an owner, and like really give them game tools, like, and teach them financial management too. Like imagine paying your kid money and being like, yo, you gotta save this, you gotta use it this way. You know, mommy and daddy are not gonna be paying for everything out of pocket for you. We're gonna pay you through the business. You actually have to work for that money, and then we're showing you how to use it and manage it. That's creating some accountability, some responsibility.
That's how I was raised.
Word? Okay, that's
I wasn't like, when most like high schoolers were having fun, I was freaking packing boxes of shipments like for my dad's business. Pissed off. I'm glad I did it now, but I was pissed at the time. Pissed.
Okay. But it creates what did it do for you? Like in the future, created how?
Look at me now. I refuse to have a job overall, and I just take the lessons that I've learned from them and apply them now, and I keep adding on to the foundation that they've given me. And my kids are going to be insane because my parents didn't even tell me a lot. I was just around a lot, so I picked up on everything. Oh, these children of mine, they're going to be like, my mom does not shut up. Like, but yeah.
Yeah, so basically with the kids, you could pay them through the business. So you could pay them up to $12,400. They won't be responsible for a tax return. You can go ahead and pay them through the business, take that as a deduction from the business. $12,500 is the key number, because one, that is the standard deduction that you can take for an individual. And if you make less than $12,400 in earned income, then you don't have to file taxes. That's just another thing in general, right? So that's the loophole. So it's combining different concepts. That's what the loopholes are about. Loopholes are looking at the broad perspective of the tax code, right? So you're looking at all these different things. You're looking at, okay, the standard deduction is $12,400. If I pay someone less, if someone makes less than $12,400, they don't have to do taxes. Okay, I got this business. I got the 4 tax requirements that Mitch just told me. For business, regular, essential, fabulous. Okay, as a business owner, I can have an employee. Boom. So you buy all these different things, and that's how, you know, you're hula hooping through the tax holes, as Jay-Z said. So that's how that works. Yes, you can go ahead and pay your children who are under 18. So it's not 18, it's 17 and under actually is the number. So if they're under 18, you can go ahead and pay them. Is there a minimum and an age requirement? Is a very common question on that. No, there is no specific requirement in the tax code that says on the age. I will tell you, as for legal protection, and you know, I will tell you that it needs to be reasonable. So how much you pay them needs to make sense. So if you have a 2-year-old, can you pay them $12,400? It's possible. You just have to be ready to make a good case for that, right? So
how is that not reasonable though? I feel like that's reasonable if you're a planner and you're like, this child is 2, and if I do this for 18 years, my child has a college education.
Yes. So we're talking about 2 different things. So we're talking about for taxes, and we're talking about for education planning, right? So basically what I'm talking about is $12,400. So one of the requirements for hiring children is you need to pay them, you need to track how many hours they're working, and you need hourly rates on that, right? From the business. So it needs to make sense. So you're paying your 2-year-old, it depends on what activity could you justify that's going to be worth $12,400 for a 2-year-old. So that's the I'm not here.
That makes sense though. This person said, have the 2-year-old be advertising. Yes.
Yes, it's up for debate, right? So it's a gray area. If you believe that your 2-year-old is worth 12,400 for advertisement, then yes, it's. I'm not saying people haven't done it. I'm not saying people don't get away with it. I've made a post about Adonis, right? So everyone knows Drake's son Adonis. Adonis could get he could get 6 figures, you know what I mean, as a model, because that's Drake's kid. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the kid is well known, he's popular, he could easily sell products if his face is on it.
I don't like talking about his child. The fact that Drake has a child is heartbreaking.
Oh.
I'm just playing.
Item from you, CC, but you know, Pusha T put him out there. Pusha T.
Yeah, I wish I would have never known. I could have lived without knowing that. Heart broke 1,000 ways when I learned that. I'm like, Drake? Soldier Boy emojis. Drake got a kid.
Right.
And then I saw the baby mama. I'm like, no, Drake, no. He disappointed. We've grown with him. I thought why he couldn't get Rihanna pregnant? Lord have mercy.
That's what, yeah. It happened like.
Sorry. Yeah. So yeah, that type of child could earn $12K.
Yeah. That's so like I said, that's easy money. So like, because there's no specific, that's why the IRS, that's another good thing, right? So they leave the tax code open for interpretation. Cierra is an attorney. She's a lawyer, and I know she can fight and fight and fight every way it relates to that case. I'm just saying, just a general rule of guidance that I give my clients is, I would say 8 years old or older, 5 years old maybe, but the 5-year-old, I wouldn't even give him the whole 12,400. I would give him, like, you know what I'm saying, if you have a 5-year-old that's taking out trash for you, cleaning up the office, you pay him $100 a month. That's the way I would do it personally. But again, that's the cool thing about the tax code is, you know, it's open to interpretation depending on everyone.
It's just law. It's just, everything's just law.
Yeah.
You argue law.
Right.
You argue law. Law is meant to be argued. That's why there's attorneys, because we argue against each other and one of us wins.
Right.
The crazy part about the law is people literally think that it's black and white. They think like the law says this, so everything is this way. No, the law says this, so how do we interpret it based off of your facts? Right.
Yep. Yep. And that's another thing too, not to get political, right? You got Trump, who paid $750 in taxes.
I freaking think that's so awesome.
That man, like he has an army of attorneys and people fighting on his behalf because they're looking at the tax code where they're saying like, well, you said we could write off this and you said we can do that, and that's the law says that. And so
what do you think about Grant Cardone and his freaking jet? You watch? I know you had to see that. I know you had to see that video of him like going off on his accountant about, you know, getting that damn jet. I'm like, that's what got me, like, that sparked my interest in like taxes and wanting to like write off my whole life, is watching that video. That was the very first thing I saw, and I was like, ooh, I gotta figure this out. I want to be like Grant Cardone.
Yeah. What Sierra's talking about is Grant Cardone, real estate author, all this kind of stuff, has over $1 billion worth in real estate and assets under Cardone Capital. Yeah, he did a video recently, actually a couple of months ago, when he was on the Impulsive podcast or whatever with Paul Logan, and he was talking about his jet. So he has this big jet that he has. I forget how many seats it is, but he has a big jet, and people think that he's doing it because he's cocky and he's showy and all that kind of stuff. But the true story behind,
which he is, and I love it.
Yeah, and it is, and that's his personality too, right? He's just like he's like you can fake a lot of things, but you can't fake a jet. You can't fake buying a jet. Like you can't pretend like you got a jet. You know what I mean? You could pretend like, yeah, I got this car or this and that. Like, if you own the jet, you own the damn jet. Like, and you got your name on it. Like, that's your jet. So
goals.
so anyway, he's at the end of the tax year, right? This is during Trump's administration. He put into place this he loosened up a lot of the tax laws for business owners because he's a business owner, and you know he spends a lot of money. He hates taxes. Clearly, he's paying $750. He hates taxes, so he made it easier for people to write things off. So at the end of the tax year, Grant Cardone's like, I got all this money. I'm about to. His account comes up to him like, yo, you got this big tax bill. So what you're about to pay in taxes? Like, no, the hell I'm not. And he starts doing his own research, and he's like, what's up with this? I'm reading online that there's this law where I could write off a jet and write off the whole thing for the year. And his account's like, you know, yeah, maybe, but kind of pushing back. Ultimately, he ends up getting the jet. Like I said, he prepaid it, right? So he pretty much put down on the jet, financed the jet, so he's able to write off the whole thing. He doesn't necessarily need to pay for the whole thing. He could finance or whatever, but he could write off the whole amount of that asset, right? Take that as a tax deduction, and it's business expense. And he actually uses it. He shows it off. Like, he's like, I am traveling for business. I'm using
and
this.
he travels. I saw him. He came here to LA, and see, this is the crazy thing. The way that I analyze things is not as a consumer. So I went to one of his events. So here's the thing. This is how taxes is all up in the damn thing. So how did he get to Los Angeles? In his jet that he wrote off. He stayed in an Airbnb, which was a mansion in Hollywood Hills. What paid for that? His business. What was that? A business expense. How did he get from his mansion to downtown? He drove a McLaren. The McLaren was rented. McLarens are like probably $1,500 a day to rent. That was a tax write-off. What did he eat? Whatever it was a tax write-off because he was here on a business trip. Then he did the convention. Whatever amount, no matter how substantial it was a tax write-off to rent that room in that space. Then there was swag. Oh my God, I got a little 10X flag. Oh my God, they're giving me little giveaways. Oh, they're so sweet. Tax write-off. Okay? See, and then Grant Cardone, see, he's my type of person. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to always get mine, but I'm going to make sure y'all get y'all's too. So Grant Cardone, he's my type of person because he's created this event for the specific purpose of you paying and being able to write off that event. So see how that goes full circle? He gets to write off taxes. You get to write it off for being there. It's all about taxes. Everything. It's all about taxes. And I also like he was talking about he has a Rolls Royce and he has a Range Rover. He drives his Rolls Royce to work. And if you go on his YouTube, he's documenting this so they can't deny it. He drives his ass to work in that Rolls Royce. And he's like, look at me. I'm going to work. Y'all see me, IRS. I'm going to work in the Rolls Royce.
The S.
Then the I and the R and the S. Then he takes that Range Rover when it's time to pick up groceries. You need a bigger space. And then whatever weight requirement there is, I think that Range Rovers meet it. So it's like a tax write-off. Yeah,
so what Sierra's talking about there, so with if you own a vehicle, this is called like the SUV truck write-off. But if the vehicle weighs more than 6,000 pounds, so if it's 6,001, which a Range Rover sure as hell is, a lot of other trucks are meet that requirement, then yeah, that is a write-off that you could take off fully in the year. So yeah, it's crazy. That's another thing too. So yeah, everything, and that's another thing too. Not only Grant Cardone did it, 50 Cent did it too. 50 Cent, he was on Young Money podcast talking to Lil Wayne about it. I'm actually gonna probably repurpose that and post that on my page. He talked about it too. He's like the same thing. Like, you know, he has the cars, and he's like, yeah, you know, part of it is his persona. He's trying to be flashy. But on the other part of it was he had the same conversation. Like, yo, I'm gonna owe all this money in taxes. I'm not about to pay money in taxes. You know how he jumped out trying to support Trump for the taxes, so he doesn't play with taxes. And yeah, he buying a vehicle in order to take off that tax write-off. So yeah, It's crazy. People are talking about books. I actually got a book called Prolific Profit: How Successful.
Ooh, I'm about to buy it right now.
Yeah, on
literally right now.
Prolific Profit. It's based on the late great Nipsey Hussle, so I'm sure you can appreciate this year. I was actually
I love him. I was
yeah,
listening to him this morning.
yeah, I was actually out at LA, and I was out there for a conference, and I was getting my mind right, getting my money right for the new year, and I was actually there on his birthday, and I'm about to pull up to the Marathon Clothing Center to pull up and pay homage to you. Prolific Profit. Let's go.
Here we go, y'all. Let's learn these taxes. Let's get prolific with our taxes.
Prolific. So I pull up to the spot or whatever, and I see the mural on there. I see the mural or whatever, and I'm looking up at it, and I see the word prolific, right eyebrow, and I'm just like, yo, prolific, that's the name. And I went ahead and thought of Prolific Profit, and I just came up with the whole book based on that. So yeah, Prolific Profit. I talk about accounting, I talk about taxes in there as well. So definitely go ahead and check that out.
This is so dope, dude. You're awesome. Like, I can't believe you wrote this book. Like, you don't cease to amaze me. Oh my God, that's awesome. I'm about to get it right now.
Appreciate you. Yeah, Prolific Profit: How Successful Businesses Maximize Profits and Dominate the Market. Based on the late and great Nipsey Hussle, which was inspired. I'm not talking about Nipsey, but he was all about buying back the block. He was all about business. He was talking about multiple streams of income. So when I saw that, it was just like, yo, I need to go ahead and do it. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie too, right? The king was young when he passed. You know what I mean? Like, his life was taken super early. And he was literally, I've been following Nipsey for years before his passing, and he's been like literally day in and day out, trying to work the system independently. He didn't try to get no cosigns. He didn't try to sign to no big label. He was all about that mailbox money. So then when he was finally getting that look, like he got nominated for a Grammy and all that kind of stuff, he was on DJ Khaled's album. His life was taken young, so I was just like, I can't waste time. I've been meaning to write a book forever. I didn't want to waste time, so I went ahead and wrote it. And yeah, Prolific Profit: How Successful Maximize Profits and Dominate the Market on Amazon, and at prolificprofit.com. You can pick that up too.
I'm so excited, and like he died young, but I was actually talking about this the other day. It wasn't in vain, because I would be in college, like listening to him in the library and everything, and he left a legacy with us, and like, if we don't take it and run with it, then that's on us.
Right.
That's on us. And yes, it's by Michel. Like, this, his name's Michel. This is so awesome. Like, I can't believe. Thank you. And honestly, that was honestly like my motivation when I came on social media. I literally would scroll through and I'd be like, these damn girls don't be talking about shit. Oh my God. And I have like beautiful friends. Like, my friends and I sit and talk about amazing things, and I'm like, why the hell aren't people on social media being normal? So I was like, when I get on social media, I remember like last year, I was sitting down with my boyfriend, like probably like a year ago this time, and I was like telling him like, yeah, I'm gonna be like a social media influencer. And I have like 1,700 followers. I'm like, I'm gonna be a social media influencer, and instead of like trying to convince people to like buy stupid stuff, I'm gonna like give them a whole bunch of game. I'm gonna teach them everything that I'm learning in like law school and stuff. And yeah, that was my motivation. So I'm glad, that you guys appreciate it, because, there's not a lot of us, but we need this information.
Word. Big facts. And broken down the way that, we could understand too, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think you're not going to find another CPA accountant out here talking about taxes, accounting, and the way I break it down. Like, I have for those who are interested too, if you guys don't want to invest in and get the book, I also have a free ebook in my bio too, so you can go pick that up. It's called Tax Wealth Secrets. You can get some good game and information about taxes as well. It's 50 pages on there. It's actually an excerpt from Prolific Profit, so it's a little bit of a preview.
I'm watching you on this interview. I'm gonna watch this after. The one that's on your on your Amazon profile? Because I'm really just like so intrigued. Like, I don't know, this guy, he just like fell into my lap and I didn't know who the hell I was talking to. And he just blows me away every day. The interview that you had on that news outlet.
Yeah, Sister Circle.
Oh, let me give y'all his IG. How about that? That's more important. Next time I need to like put Tax Thursday with Michel.
Word. Yeah. MICHEL. Someone said, asked me if I'm Haitian. I'm Haitian. Haitien, Cpas. My Creole is the best, so don't judge me on my Creole. But yeah, I'm
Hey, I was watching this documentary, and they said that all people, like Haitians, just all black people, that Swahili is the language that all of us could speak among each other. So like we both would speak it and it would be like a broken version of everything. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, how do I learn that? And how do we learn this? I'm so confused. Like, what the heck?
Hey, we got some Haitians in the building. Shout out to all the Haitians.
Hey, that's dope. Hey. That's dope. We really do. I'm really amazed with the richness of culture that comes this way. And it's crazy because people think that black is one-dimensional. It's like, ooh, black is deep. There's all types of black.
We got flavors. But yeah, yeah. So that's me. So Prolific Prophet. I'm actually coming out with the second book this year. This actually announced it before. I'm probably gonna talk about it later on this year, maybe early. But the 10 Tax Commandments. If you guys don't know, I actually wrote, penned, a rap called the 10 Tax Commandments, based on Biggie Smalls' 10 Crack Commandments. I'm a big Biggie Smalls fan. Actually, back in the day, growing up, when I was in middle school, high school, I actually wanted to be a rapper. I was actually like really pursuing and really like had a composition. I still have a composition notebook to this day. You know what I mean? And
have your raps?
I don't have raps in here. I don't write the raps anymore. Now with technology, I'd be like with the thumbs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's easier to erase and stuff like that. So, anyways, I don't necessarily do pen to paper. Back in the day, I used to do the pen to paper and a composition notebook. Wrote the 10 Tax Commandments based on the Biggie Smalls. If you check that out, 10taxcommandments.com. You can see a whole music. I got a whole music video. I got a lyric video. Like I really serious.
Let me hear something. Are you ready?
Someone's trying to hear something. We want to hear it. Should I do it again?
How about we ask them? Give us a thumbs up if y'all want him to rap. He rapped last time.
I did it last time. I don't want to be repetitive.
Let me see them diamonds. What diamonds? What diamonds? I'm confused. In my ear?
Hey,
yeah. Up.
You can check it out.
If we get 20 thumbs up, then he'll rap. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, I have a boyfriend. 4, 5, 6,
8.
No, 9. The rap is 10, 11, 12.
I'm gonna just to save time because the live's about to close. I'm gonna try to do an acapella real quick.
But no, you gotta do the beat again. How annoying am I? I'm like the little sister that nobody ever wanted.
You want the whole experience. I'm gonna do it.
I want them to hear it.
But you 10taxcommandments.com or on my YouTube, Michel Valbrun, on YouTube.
Drop your EP. Yeah, drop your EP, bro.
Oh, I need So yeah, I want to do. I actually low-key want to do an EP. It's the 10 Tax Commandments. What?
Yes.
Can't tell me nothing about the tax.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. People on the corner, I forget you. My triple stream queens, word up. Yeah. Check it out.
Yes.
I've been in this game for years. It made me an animal. There's rules to this code. I wrote me a manual, a step-by-step booklet for you to get your game on track. The feds off your back. Uno de uno. Let the IRS know how much dough you hold, cause you know evasion breeds penalties, especially if that stuff. Watch your taxes go up. Number 2, document expenses you can prove. Don't you know them boys treat lying like lies taken from your highness.
I love it.
Cats and chicks cut for their skins and tricks. Number 3, go form an LLC. Sierra sets that up. Properly draft up. Either in the state up. Shit for them big bucks to get that paperwork cleaned up. Word up. Number 4, I know you heard this before. Always rely on your CPA guy. Number 5, never tax prep where you rest at. I don't care if they do. Number 6, credit. You favorites, forget it. 7, this rule is so underrated. Keep your personal and business separate. Business and blood don't mix like politics. No tricks. Find your business serious rates. Number 8, know the day your taxes due. If you miss the deadline, they'll be coming for you. Number 9 should have been number 1 to me. If you start a business, if they thinking it's a hobby, they ain't trying to listen. You'll be stressing in the kitchen when them letters start hitting. Number 10, a strong work reputation, strictly for Ben. If you ain't got investors, then say hell no, because they gonna want their money, rain, sleet, hell, snow. Follow these rules, you have to have bread to break up. If not, 24 years on the wake up. Flow hit your tempo, watch your frame shake up. Caretaker did your makeup when you pass. My bad, I hope you rake up a lot of cash with beachfront in Jamaica with the Michelin star chef to hook stick up. Gotta go, more attempts to make it up. And yeah, Tax King, money midnight.
Dude.
Off the top is how I reside. We going live. Sierra time.
I love it.
To Atlanta, we make yeah. All right. That's
the day's gonna be so funny when they tell you to rap it, and I'm like, okay, they tell me to rap with you. You gotta write me a rap too. So.
Hey, I'm trying to. My goal is to make sure that you're the #1 Cierra Wilson on Google. When people
I need to figure that out.
Yeah, you're trying to compete with the R&B singer, but we need to get you on that #1. We need. I think
that Cierra Wilson might not be #1, but I think Sierra ESQ. Like that's just a little bit weird.
Yeah, Sierra.
Your turn, Sierra. It would take me, y'all would have to it would take me being on Instagram for 5 years for me to get comfortable rapping. Because I was thinking about the other day, after I pressured you into freaking getting on here and rapping, I was like, I could have never freaking done that. I would have been so mad. I would have been like, oh my God, Michelle, stop, please. Oh my God, stop. No. So, kudos to you. That is so awesome that you created a rap song about freaking taxes. And that's what we talk about why representation matters, because we're professionals, but we're just like y'all. We do all the same things that y'all do. We've been enjoying our lives just how you guys have been enjoying your lives. We've just committed ourselves to a profession that is highly powerful. And I want all of y'all to do that. We're about to do a versus.
Hey, the SoundCloud, if you Google SoundCloud, Michel Valbrun is on SoundCloud. So Big actually got a SoundCloud. So I went all listen, when I do something, I go all the way. I created a lyric, really the professional ones. I looked at Drake's joint, Wale's joint, J. Cole's joints. I wanted it to look like that. So I might do a real live video or whatever. But anyways, yeah, no, maybe we could do a verse. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
if we do a versus, he's gonna write my raps before I come on.
And do 1-2 step in homage of the R&B singer or level up.
I would never. I'm never getting on here rapping. I would have to randomly get on live if I was lit and start rapping. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like, you know, it's different time now. And people, we're out here. We could be ourselves and still, you know, give game and facts. Because listen, I'll tell you another thing too. What's important for me, like, I didn't want to just go out here and do a song just for the sake of doing a song. I wanted the song to actually have, like, if you really break down the 10 tax commandments, like all of those, I'm talking about like every single one. They're totally legit. Important things that you guys need to understand. Important to get things. So, and then two, because I'm a fan of Biggie and that was a classic record, I wanted to pay, you know, I wanted to make sure I did the record. My flows, put some bars and some things in there, you know what I'm saying, to really, you know, I'm not saying that I did better than Biggie by any means, but I wanted to make sure I
pay homage.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, paid homage and made sure, you know, the king got his respect. So
if I rap, it's gonna be like on a Nipsey Hussle beat. I love him. Like,
shout out to him. I got family in Brooklyn, Canarsie.
Do I know how to crib walk here? No. It's funny, like, I'm not even like shy or anything, but it's just like, it's just weird, y'all. So let me tell all y'all, I'm just like all y'all. So just imagine right now getting on live and entertaining people. It has taken me time to like be even okay with it. And another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. So if you guys, I don't know if you guys were here last night, but we were talking about our free webinar on Monday. So on Monday, we will be having a webinar. In this webinar, we will be talking about all type of things related to entrepreneurship. I've asked Michel to join us because, look, none of what we talk about even matters if we're not talking about taxes. So sign up for that webinar, learn about entrepreneurship. It is completely free. We are going to be talking to you guys for some hours about different things. You guys like to see us on live, but here's the thing. All of us create PowerPoints. We're all good at that. And we'll have PowerPoints there. We don't have PowerPoints on live. So we really want to, you know, give you guys more value. And you guys always ask me how to get it. Where do you sign up? So you sign up. It's called Fire Your Boss, first of all, because I'm not with y'all having bosses no more. So we're firing our bosses in 2021, and we're teaching you how to fire your boss. We're going to equip you with all the tools that you need. You have so many resources in this free webinar. I can't wait. It's going to be via Zoom. It's the third link in my bio. So I just had to go to my bio to see. So it's called Fire Your Boss 2020 free webinar. I can't wait to share with you guys. Like, we are about to dive in. So sign up for it. Drop 100 if you're going to join us next Monday on this webinar. And let me look at the time because I don't remember times at the top of my head. We are doing this.
I know it's 8 p.m. Eastern for one of them.
Yeah, so 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard. So y'all might be a little bit tired, but we're going to be talking. So drop 100 if you will be joining us on Monday for our free webinar. We will be talking to you guys about business. We're going to talk. So I'm going to be talking about LLCs. I'm going to be talking to you guys about mindset. You guys are going to get a more intimate version of me. You guys are going to meditate with me. We're going to kind of get into our heads. Like, we need to meditate. We need to, yes. We need to woosah. We need to enter the space correctly. So I want you guys to come with an open mind, an open heart. There's more to us than just our profession. So we're just going to share with you guys. We have Shoshana. She has an ice cream shop. She's been an entrepreneur since she was 18. So she is well versed in entrepreneurship. We have Ellie. She is going to teach you guys about business credit. She's a life insurance broker. She's going to briefly talk to you guys about life insurance, but really the purpose of this webinar is entrepreneurship. So she's a business coach. She's going to be talking to you guys about what she teaches her clients. We have Michel. He's going to be teaching taxes, planning, and preparation. And then all of us are well versed in this social media stuff. So we're going to be talking to you guys about how we use social media to build our brands, because if you're, no matter what business you're trying to start, you're going to need to be good in, you're going to have to be good in social media. And it's free. There's no cash or check. And you guys also can grab Michel's tax preparation course. It's not called tax preparation, is it? It's called Tax Wealth Building 101.
Tax Wealth 101. Actually, I have the domain too. So taxwealth101.com. If you pin that, that'll be super easy. But taxwealth101.com. And yeah, go ahead and pick it up there. Tax Wealth 101. It's super affordable. And basically, like I said, like I said on the last live, Cierra actually convinced me and motivated me in order to do that, because she was just like, Mitch, like, one of the biggest barriers to entries is money for us. You know what I mean? Like, money is just one of those things where, you know, we can't get that knowledge, we can't get that information because we just don't have, either we don't have the finances to invest, not willing to invest or whatever. So I made it really affordable. If you guys go ahead and pick that up tonight, I can go ahead and jump on the call with you real quick, and, you know, we can talk specifically about your situation. taxwealth101.com. Go ahead and pick that up. And yeah, there's a whole bunch of game.
Oh man, they asked you so many questions. I'm just about to screenshot them, and we're gonna screenshot it. But
rapid fire. Hey,
what do you mean by young and dumb? That's what they asked me. Oh my god, young and dumb. Like, for Michel, what's an S corp and why is it important? We went over that. Should I still keep my LLC and elect to be taxed even if I don't have? Yeah, we covered all of the questions actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys.
And that's another thing too. You guys don't know what you don't know. So like I said, in that program, there's going to be a whole bunch of questions that you know to ask. And she said it was fire. She learned a lot. The program is, I give a whole bunch of game on there. There's only so much time that we have on these lives, but there's a lot of great content information in there. You're actually, one of my things is low-key what I want y'all to do is I want you guys to be even more knowledgeable than the person that's doing your taxes. Like, big facts. Like, once you go through that program, you're about to be more equipped, more knowledgeable about taxes. And then, like, let's say you still work with someone on taxes, they miss something or they don't do something the way they're supposed to, you can call them out and be like, yo, this program, Mitch told me that you can do this. It's actually an IRS tax code, and that knowledge is power. Like, knowledge is huge. It's one of the keys to business. And yeah, having that knowledge beforehand, that's another thing too. It's unfortunate with us too. We wait till something bad happens, right? We wait audit it. We be like, yo, now I want to learn taxes, or we wait for that PPP loan to come through, and the IRS like, yo, we're about to give you all this free money, but you need to have your accounting and finances in order. Like, everyone's like, yo, and they try to catch up and trying to do it after the fact. Let's be proactive. Let's
not
be
reactive
and not reactive. Yeah, because that's not the way to go too. That's when people, you know, that's when you start compromising your values. That's when you start stressing out. Like, proactive. That's the word for the night.
Is your are you gonna have like a, I don't know what it's called, like a tax preparation firm soon? Because it's like there's not enough. I feel like because you're a CPA, if there's very few CPAs, then I think you need your own, because, you know, there's a whole bunch of tax preparers, but there's not a whole bunch of CPAs.
Yeah. No, I have. So yeah, as far as tax, you mean like having a whole bunch of people do like tax prep for me? Yeah. I mean, I got people that do tax prep for me. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I got
great, because everybody asks me for a CPA and I send them your way, but I've been assuming that you do it.
Oh yeah. Oh, so
you got a team.
Yeah, I got a team. I'll put this out there, and just to be transparent, I personally don't do tax prep because, like I said, like because my focus is more on strategy, how to help you proactively save money on taxes, and really that's the biggest difference. Because honestly, I would say this too. This is coming from a CPA. Tax prep is a cost. It is a cost for your business. There's not a lot of value in it. You got to do it as compliance work. I'm telling you, you need to file your taxes. So don't take this as don't file your taxes, but there's no like benefit for you. You just, it's something that everyone has to do. Tax planning, that's an investment with an ROI. That's when you get your money back. Let's say you work with me on tax planning, you pay me X amount of dollars, I guarantee that I'll 5X that investment for you, because I'm going to show you how to save 10,000, 100,000, whatever the case is, wherever you fall into. So that's an investment with the ROI. That's what we need to start thinking about too, is like how to spend our money to get that return on investment. Because with tax prep, it is what it is. That's why I focus more on tax planning. It takes time, so I can only do so much during the day, but that's what it is. But I got that's tax prep for me. Yeah,
that's how I'm getting to that point too with the law firm. I just was talking to one of my colleagues from law school, and I was just like, I need help because I just can't do this. Why do you think most Black people go for entertainment rather than building generational wealth as educated professionals? I think that the way that this country was built, they started off by teaching us that we're worthless and we're dumb. So we're still fighting the mental slavery of feeling like we're worthless. But because with entertainment profession, we only make them rich. So that's the worst part. Like, entertainers are like slaves to like the industry. I personally have always had the desire, right, to be on a reality show. I've always had that desire. But let me tell you the problem with that. If I was on a reality show, what would happen? So you guys see what I like to talk about. Have you guys ever heard me talk shit about somebody? No. Will you guys ever see me argue with somebody? No. The second I go to a white ass label, what they gonna get me to try to do? Be arguing, fighting, drama. So overall, that industry as a whole is an extension of the problem, and it keeps going. And I think that we go into entertainment because that's what the system tells us. Really, it's that simple. Angry Black women. Yeah.
That's another thing, real quick thing too. What was I gonna say? That's what we see, right? So we don't see it going back to representation. So we see the athletes, we see the rappers, we see all that kind of stuff. Like for me, one of the things, I love hip hop. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love hip hop. But even growing up, for me, I grew up in a single parent home. My dad left when I was like 8 years old. He actually went to jail and everything. That's a whole nother story for another day. But for me, my role models were Tupac, Biggie, like those. That's what I saw, and that's what I knew as far as like, you know what I'm saying, like the way to be rich and live a lifestyle, whatever. And then like as I grew up and as I started looking at life, and I was just like, you know what, there's other ways to do this thing. And I really wanted to get into business and entrepreneurship, and I understood that accounting is the language of business. If y'all don't know about accounting, if you guys don't know about these taxes, and you're trying to be out here doing a business, yeah, you can go ahead and make money, and people are talking about like making 6 figures and all that kind of stuff, and $1 million and all that stuff, and you can do that. It's cool. But that accounting piece, that's like the foundation of everything, you know what I mean? So like making sure that's on point. And for me, that's how I got into it. But then I'm also, you know what I mean, now I'm trying to be an example for people too. So I mentor people too. I'm trying to be an example and showing people like, yo, there's another way. There's other things that you can do out here instead of going that entertainment route. Don't get me wrong, I love entertainers.
We're entertaining y'all.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I love entertainers. I work with entertainers. The entertainers are good, but there's other avenues that we can go into. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be boring. Don't get me wrong with this, the whole CPA thing. Like,
yeah, the other day, I met one of my neighbors, and he's like an A&R at like, I can't remember which record label, and he's Black. And I asked him like, can you come on my live, please? Because I'm pretty sure that I never really knew about like this job really, and I didn't really think that it was a Black person's job. So you need to come on live, because there's some young Black guy that wants to be a rapper but needs to know that he could be in the industry, and his best friends could be freaking Future and whoever else is your friends because of your job, and he doesn't have to be the actual person in the limelight. So
right.
There are different jobs in the entertainment industry besides the entertainer. And my thing is this: I don't have a problem with entertainment. I have a problem with the system. But I can't wait till the day that we start owning stuff. Till we have freaking record labels, TV networks, movie studios, till we have our own subculture of entertainment. I can't wait to see that day. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I can't wait to see.
Yeah. I mean, people are out here killing it. You got Tyler Perry, who's doing his thing. You know, you got LeBron James, everything that he's building, he just keeps taking things to another level and just adding and building. I mean, there's people. There's a whole new renaissance. I think, you know, it's not even like it's coming, it's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just
right now.
So yeah, it's happening.
This pandemic created the Black Wealth Renaissance.
Hey, the biggest.
Can you advise like a tax attorney? Yeah, and he said he could defend you. He said he could defend you in a court case too.
Yeah, let me break that down too. So as far as like you guys trying to find CPAs and people to work with, this is how I break it down and explain it. So you have, when it comes to taxes and people in accounting, there's levels, right? So there's levels to this, like Meek said. So the lowest level, and again, this is just my personal opinion, but the lowest level I think is tax prep, right? Because with tax prep, you can prepare taxes yourself on TurboTax, and with tax prep,
H&R Block.
So those folks, you know what I mean? When it comes to someone doing your taxes for you, there are literally no requirements in order to someone. Like, all you need is what's called a P10, and you could be out here saying that, hey, I'm a tax preparer, I can do your taxes for you, right? So there's no really a lot of rules and regulations around who can do taxes for people. So that's like, to me, that's the beginning level, because you don't necessarily need to go to school for it. H&R Block says you don't even have to have a high school education. You can have a GED. It's on their website. 18 years or older, boom, you can go ahead and go through the course and people's taxes for them. And people doing it all day, every day.
I would not pay them to do anything for me. That sounds terrible.
Right. So that's one level. Then the next level is you have EAs and tax attorneys. I put them on the second level because they actually went through more of training, more education. EAs are officially certified by the IRS. Tax attorneys, they went to school, understand taxes, as far as from a legal perspective.
And they're different. I think they're different too, because all the tax attorneys I know, they work with big corporations. They don't work with people.
Yeah, they're not necessarily working with people. They're working in the corporate. They work in the legal counsel, and like, you know, like how Amazon paid pretty much zero money in taxes. Like, he has like a whole squad of tax attorneys diving into the tax code, researching, defending him, all that kind of stuff. So you got EAs, enrolled agents. That's what it's for. EAs, amazing, smart, brilliant people as it relates to taxes. On the next level above that, you have CPAs. So CPAs are certified public accountants. These people went to school. They have 150 credit hours in this space of accounting, tax. They have to pass a very rigorous exam. The passing rate is less than 10%.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's just, people don't pass that exam.
Yeah, it's brutal.
First time too. Fortunately, I've been blessed enough to say I passed it on the first time. Went through the whole. Yeah, so I passed the CPA exam, but there's a level above that, because I told you I'm a CPA, right? And I didn't know all the things about taxes and how to save money proactively on taxes. I had to go out and learn that myself. I spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, learning this information. So the highest level I call is a tax elite. Right, the tax elite is the highest level, and I'm going to break that down for you. This is who you need to be working for and looking for. If you have a business, if you make more than $50,000 a year, and you want to make sure your money, and or you know you're going to make more than $50,000 a year, you want to make sure your money's on point. So the first part of that, tax elite's another acronym. The first part of that is education. So they go to school for accounting and tax. Like I told you, the tax prep people, they don't necessarily need to go to school to do your taxes for you. So making sure that you are working with someone who actually went to school, actually cares about it, not like a side hustle, not something they do from January to April, trying to get 6 figures, because really those people who are coming in there, again, no disrespect to, I love the fact that people are here making money and, building their businesses, but I'm speaking from more as an advocate for y'all to make sure you guys are on point. You got people out here who are doing tax prep and it's literally transactional. When I say transactional, it's like, it's just numbers. So like, okay, I could charge someone $300. If I charge 100 people $300, then I can make this amount of money during tax season or whatever. So it's a hustle. So you want to make sure you work with someone who actually went to school for it. The next part of that is legal representation. We talked about legal representation. So you want to work with someone who could represent you in front of the IRS. CPAs can do that. EAs can do that. Tax attorneys can do that. So you want to work with someone who could represent you in front of the IRS. The I part of that, it's 2 parts of that. So that the first part is I is integrity. So making sure that you're working with someone who's going to follow the tax code legally and ethically. There's people out here telling you to do unethical things. There's no reason to be unethical as it relates to tax code. This is another thing too that people know. So if you were to print out the whole tax code, it's over 70,000 pages. All right. To give you an example of what 70,000 pages looks like, if you print out 70,000 pages, if I were to take a gun, shoot that gun, that bullet will not even penetrate you. That's how long 70,000 pages is. 70,000 pages is long. Most of the tax code, believe it or not, is showing you how to not pay tax. Right? That's a bar. Like, most of the tax code is telling you how to avoid tax.
It was written. I talk about this all the time. Like, the tax code was written not so we pay taxes. It's a way that the tax code is a guide for business owners to create businesses in America. And if you create it how America tells you, they reward you. It's that simple. I don't know. It doesn't, like, look, forget the history. I am against the system that I don't like. I talk about it all the time. That's beyond the point. Let's forget America's history and let's just act like this was written with us in mind too. And it was literally written, America said, we want these people starting businesses. We got this money. Another thing, money does not come from the government. It comes from a corporation. The Federal Reserve is not the federal government. But we have this money, and we don't want to be giving it out to these American citizens. So if these people who live here create jobs for the other people so that we don't have to take care of them, we're going to reward them. It's really, really, really simple.
Yeah, that's facts. That's big facts. I'm going to give you, actually, you know what? I'm going to show you guys some behind the scenes real quick, right? Ooh. I'm about to post this video tomorrow. I don't know if you guys could hear it.
Yes.
Biggie. So this video with Tony Robbins, check this out. This is what he says about taxes.
There's nothing more expensive in your life than taxes. So I totally didn't pay my taxes. I feel like I can talk about this in a way that's more than fair. Your job, the IRS's job, is to make sure they get as much tax from as many people as possible. That's their job. You don't want to be upset about it. That's their job. Your job is to make sure that legally and ethically you pay as little as you possibly can, because the difference between achieving your financial goals or not is you can earn more, but if you earn more and you're giving up 50 or 60%, it's going to cost you a lot. I'm going to give you an example. Compounding, right? So if you take $1 and you double it every year, first year $1, year 2 it's 2, then it goes 4, then 8, then 16, 32. After you double $1 20 times, it's $1,048,000. That's the power we see with compounding, right? It just explodes. What most people don't know is that costs compound as well. Fees compound as well. Taxes compound as well. There's nothing more expensive.
Compound tax. Compound tax.
Man, that's a sick concept to think about your taxes compounding. You don't want that. Compound interest. You want compound interest on your money growing, not the amount that you owe growing.
Right. It's not how much you earn, it's how much you keep. So that's that. But going back to the tax release, we talked about the E, which is education. Make sure you're working with someone who's educated. The L is going to be that legal representation. The I is integrity, making sure that someone's doing things legally for you. And then the other part of that I is it needs to be an investment. We talked about investments. We talked about tax planning. Tax planning is an investment with a high ROI. You work with someone on a tax plan, and they give you game and they break down how to save $10,000, $100,000 legally and ethically. Then that's everything. That's what you need to be doing. Like you can't just be out here. Like literally, I was talking to a client right before this live, and they were telling me working with this person. He's a little bit older gentleman, taxed for a long time, and their business is blowing up. Like literally in like 3 months, she's close to like $200,000. But they didn't know proactively, you know, the person that she's working with is a family friend. They've been working with this person for years. They didn't give them game up front to help them save money in taxes. I haven't done the deep dive with her yet. I'm estimating she's probably this year she's gonna end up overpaying like $50,000 in taxes because she didn't know up front. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know, people think just because they're paying someone to do their taxes for them, that's included with the service. One, like I said, they don't know what to do to help you save money in taxes. I didn't know, so I'm speaking from personal experience as a CPA. And two, you know, you just have to be working with the right person in order to help you do that. So that is that's what I do. Yeah, it is a cost. Someone said it's literally a cost not to be educated. I actually call that I keep going, jumping different topics, but I'm gonna break this down real quick. So when it comes to taxes, Tony Robbins said it. I didn't say it. Tony Robbins, right? The big guru, the big personal development guy. He says taxes are your single largest expense. The reason why taxes are your single largest expense is when you make money, you pay income tax. When you pay for something, you pay sales tax. When you buy property, you pay property tax. When you sell the property for more than what you paid for it, you pay capital gains tax. The same thing with stocks too, right?
I was saying when you trade stocks, when you get dividends.
Bro, when you die, I did a post about estate taxes. When you die, someone's paying estate taxes. So when you break that down, everyone's looking at their federal tax rate, which is like 24% or whatever. No, bro, if you really break down taxes, you're paying like 50% of your income is going to taxes.
Yeah, I like how Robert Kiyosaki talked about it. He was talking about basically how like rich people leverage purchasing like assets and just they leverage the tax code, and it's like the tax code for them is just chess. They're just playing chess with the damn IRS chess, and the rich people are beating the IRS in chess, and we're losing to the IRS in chess.
Right. Yeah. It's But again, the reason why that is we talked about they favor business owners and investors, not because they're rich people, but because the IRS sees them as people who are helping them do things. So like as far as business owners, as a business owner, you're creating commerce, you're creating opportunities for people to work for you, you're paying payroll taxes, you have products, services, all those kind of things help stimulate the economy, increase GDP, all that kind of stuff. As an investor, you're putting money and investing into businesses so they can be bigger. Like we live in a capitalistic society, so whether you believe in capitalism or not, that's what it is. So like the government wants you to help these businesses continue to grow, continue to spend money. That's why Amazon has done so many things as far as the economy is concerned. So that's how they're able to pay like zero in taxes, right? Obviously they have a whole team of whatever people figuring things out for them. But yeah, the government sees it as valuable, just the way the government sees you contributing to your retirement account as valuable, right? Because they want you as an individual to supplement your own retirement. Why is that? Because they know Social Security is going to disappear, right?
And we shouldn't be relying on Social Security.
Yeah, shouldn't be relying.
That's not a lot of money. It's not enough money for
you're
us.
It's not gonna take care of you. But they do these things you know, the government is involved in the things that are going on in this country, but they also want to kind of move themselves out of things too, right? So they create these systems and things like, okay, you go ahead and take care of the real estate thing. If you can buy some real estate and put some people in there and put some tenants in there, we're going to be pretty easy on you when it comes to taxes. We're going to give you bless you.
Oh shit, I have coronavirus.
Coronavirus.
Oh shit!
So,
Here we go.
so anyway, so that's it. So going back to the tax elite, ELIT. So T is training, making sure that you're working with someone who's getting consistent training. As a CPA, I am required in order to maintain a certain amount of what's called CPE credits, continuing professional education credits. I'm required by the CPA board in order to maintain the CPA license. So I have to be up to date on different things, making sure you're working with someone who's up to date on the different tax codes. You know, with this pandemic, they have the CARES Act, they have the Family Act, and all these different things that they're putting into the tax system. Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, he's about to come in and change the whole tax code again. Trump came in, he created the biggest tax reform in the last 30 years. Biden's coming in, he's creating some changes that are going to impact people who are making over 400,000 or more. If that's you, which I'm sure a lot of people on your live are, because you know that's who you roll with. Or if they're not, they're going to be in 2021. And
They firing a boss in 2021.
Hey, so yeah, that's going to impact you. So just being up to date on that. And the last part of that is experience. How much experience do they have? How long have they been in the game? I've been in the game for over 10 years now, doing this, helping people save money on taxes. Like, you want to make sure that you're working with some experience. You don't want to be a guinea pig for someone. I had yeah, sometimes, you know, you just end up, you do have, everyone has to start somewhere, but yeah, you don't want to be
You can take this.
professional on that. So the tax elite, I think someone asked about certification. There's no special certification. I created the tax elite. I may start certifying people. I don't, but it's just a way for you to think through and look at someone, because that's how you looking at someone to make sure they're actually credible. Because sometimes it's not. Yeah. Sometimes it's not enough for someone to know to do taxes at Jackson Hewitt or H&R Block. Again, they're doing their thing. I love people making money, but you know, I'm just speaking from.
Thank you so much. I really love talking to you. I can't wait till he'll be back every Thursday, because we need him. Like, we need him desperately. And I don't know what we'll be talking about next Thursday. We'll figure it out, but we'll be talking some form of taxes. And, you know, I like to throw in some chit chat, because it's like, I want you guys to get to know us and just, you know, understand why we do what we do, and just get more value from us than just what our profession is. Because I personally think both of us and any person that I bring on my live has some value to provide outside of what they do for money. It's just them as a person, you know, they bring value. So he will definitely be here more. And please give it up to him for coming here and rapping. Like, I could never do it, so I'm like so proud of you. You're freaking awesome. You're killing it. Thank you. Good night to you guys. It's 7:30 and I'm over here like I'm about to go home and go to sleep.
Yeah, this is on Audible too. Shout out to the queen that's about to pick it up.
Did you read it? Is it you reading it?
I have an author reading it. Okay. He's a big dark black man with a deep voice. So
awesome.
He has a better voice than I do. He sounds much better than I do on yo, I promise you. I think you might be able to preview it on Amazon. He's like, prolific profit, how successful businesses maximize. The man's voice is incredible.
Oh man, I love it. I want to write a book now. I'm inspired. I need to get my life together. It's been real, y'all. I am so sleepy. I slept like 4 hours, so good night. Join us in our free webinar Monday. You guys will actually hear him before Thursday. So join us in our free webinar. You can grab your ticket by clicking the third link in my bio, Fire Your Boss 2021. Grab his book, Prolific Profit, or you can grab his Tax Wealth 101 course by clicking the link in his bio.
Yeah, Prolific Profit. Peace, y'all. Thank you all so much. It's always a pleasure. Sierra, looking forward to doing this again. Monday, Fire Your Boss. We in there. Taxes, entrepreneurship, law, business credit, all that.